Wait, let's unpack this. We are diving into the world of cyber threat intelligence today, looking at a campaign that really shows the evolution of financial malware. We're talking about Valleyrat_S2. And this is not your grandfather's virus. This is an invisible watchdog. It's designed to quietly get inside an organization, stay hidden for months, and just systematically drain financial data. The truly startling thing here is that the initial breach, it doesn't rely on some, expensive cutting-edge zero-day exploit. It often hides in plain sight. It's tucked inside these completely mundane tools that users, maybe even you, are intentionally downloading. It's a trick of trust, really. So our mission today is to take the sources we have, the detailed analysis, and figure out exactly how this C++ malware achieves what analysts are calling guaranteed residency. And it does that through this incredibly resilient, unique layered watchdog mechanism.
And what's fascinating here is understanding the identity of the threat. You see, Valleyrat2 is not the initial door kicker. It's the core. It's the sophisticated second-stage payload of the broader Valleyrat family.
Right. So it's not the first thing in.
Exactly. And when you hear that term RAT Remote Access Trojan, that signals intent. This thing is a full control system. It's built for the long game. It's all about achieving long-term, reliable command over an infected system, ensuring data exfiltration, and just making the victim's environment totally visible to the attackers. It's meant to be a permanent fixture, not some temporary nuisance.
That focus on permanent residency, that leads us right to the entry point. If it's not coming through, say, mass email spam or network vulnerabilities, how are these attackers deploying such a sophisticated piece of software?
Well, the initial infection, it relies heavily on classic social engineering. It's preying on people's desire for, convenience or free software. The deception is all about familiar downloads, but specifically targeted at regions using Chinese language interfaces. We see it bundled into fake productivity tools, crack software, Trojanized installers.
Wait, I've seen this before. It often looks like a legitimate utility, something that claims it's going to make your life easier.
Precisely. The sources track specific examples where the installer is posing as a highly sophisticated AI-based spreadsheet generator or some kind of automated office tool. So someone downloads this thinking they're getting a professional edge or maybe just avoiding a license fee, and the malware is just packaged right alongside the legitimate-looking setup files ready to go.
Okay, let's talk about the key technical trick that turns a simple installation into a catastrophic compromise. DLL sideloading. For the learner listening, this sounds complex, but it's actually a brilliant piece of misdirection, isn't it?
It is, and it's the primary delivery method for this whole Valleyrat campaign. Think of it this way. When a legitimate application, say a signed piece of software that Windows implicitly trusts, when it starts up, it needs certain tools. These are dynamic link libraries, or DLLs.
Right.
And it goes looking for these tools in expected places. DLL sideloading just exploits that search order. The attacker takes their malicious code, names it exactly like a legitimate DLL, and then places it in the application's local directory. That's a place the legitimate application checks first.
So the legitimate signed application, which is totally innocent, it says, I need my standard library file, libraryx.dll. But because the attacker preloaded their malicious file with the same name, the signed app just loads the wrong file first. And suddenly it's running malicious code under its own security context.
That's the perfect analogy. You're using a trusted delivery truck to transport contraband. The sources give us a specific example, actually. The malicious file often masquerades as steamp64.dll.
Oh, I know that one. That's for gaming, right?
It is, yeah. It relates to gaming frameworks, but it's widely recognized. And because of that, it looks benign. And because it's a DLL being loaded by a legitimate executable, security software might see the legitimate process running and just wave it through, completely missing the malicious payload.
The total blind spot.
That's the critical evasion step. The malicious archives drop these payloads into common, confusing user paths, making them hard to spot. We're talking about locations deep in the temp folder, like C users, admin app beta local temp, and then, a long folder name. It's just hiding in a nested folder path that looks like it belongs to a useful installer.
So the initial stage is just pure stealth. Use human error, get on the machine, then leverage the trust model of Windows through DLL sideloading to run without raising flags. Okay, so that sets the stage. Once Valleyrat S2 is active, What can it actually do? What are its capabilities?
It's a full-service financial spy platform. Once the DLL's job is done, it starts establishing strong long-term control. Its functionality checklist, it reads like a banking fraud toolkit. It can upload stolen files, download new payloads, execute shell commands to explore the environment, and critically, it has robust key logging.
Key logging. So it's capturing every single keystroke.
Every
And beyond just stealing what a user types, how targeted is it? Does it just grab random documents, or is it, sniffing for financial gold?
It's highly targeted. This is where the system reconnaissance comes in. The RAT doesn't just sit there. It actively scans processes, file systems, registry keys. It wants to understand the victim environment completely.
And why? What's it looking for?
It's looking for indicators of financial value. It's searching for common ERP systems, specific accounting software like, say, QuickBooks or Sage, or even local apps for internal trading platforms. That reconnaissance minimizes the noise and just maximizes the yield.
It sounds like a sophisticated burglar who doesn't just grab jewelry but knows exactly which safe to crack because he's already seen the blueprints.
Yeah.
But if it's constantly sending data back and forth, how does it maintain contact with its command and control servers without setting off all the network alarms?
The communication is designed for subtlety. It reaches out to hard-coded C2 servers. We've seen connections to addresses like 27.124.3.175, for example. Crucially, it uses a custom TCP protocol.
Ah, so it's not standard web traffic.
Not at all. It's not HTTP or HTTPS, so it blends in better. Standard network monitoring tools often struggle to flag custom TCP traffic as malicious unless they have a very specific signature for it.
So it's talking in a secret code over a private channel, making it much harder to spot.
Yeah.
What about evading security tools on the machine itself?
Internally, it is very robust. It uses structured exception handling to manage its own errors, which prevents security software from crashing it. It also has sandbox checks, so it can tell if it's running on a real machine versus a security analyst's virtual lab.
Making sure it's not being watched.
Precisely. But the most effective local evasion technique is process injection. It injects its malicious code into the memory space of seemingly trusted processes. The sources note examples of it hiding inside Telegro.exe or even WhatsApp.exe.
Oh, so you look at your task manager, you just see a trusted messenger app running. But really, ValleyRat S2 is using that process as its operating base.
A quiet, strong operating base.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Here's where it gets really fascinating. This is where this malware just steps into a new league. That quiet presence is worthless if an IT admin spots it and just terminates the process. That's the first line of defense, right? But this layered persistence, this watchdog design, this is the mechanism that ensures its survival against reboots and even manual cleanup attempts.
That's the core innovation of ValleyRat S2. It doesn't rely on one single method for persistence. It uses 3 interdependent layers. It creates a self-healing machine.
3 layers. Okay, what's layer 1?
The first layer is the use of staging files. Before the malware does anything else, it drops marker files in specific user paths. The most important one is %TMP, %target.pitted. This file literally holds the current process ID, the unique number of the main malware process. It also stores config data in other places. These files are the memory of the watchdog system. If the main process dies, the recovery system knows exactly what to check for and what to restart.
So it's keeping a note. My ID number is X, and if I stop running, come look here to find me. That's the memory. What about the initial kick, the thing that guarantees it runs on boot?
That's the second layer, scheduled tasks and registry run keys. The malware abuses legitimate Windows functionality, specifically the task scheduler. It often uses the underlying COM APIs to schedule automated, hidden tasks. It sets itself up to rerun automatically on startup. The registry run keys are just a reliable backup path, making sure if the scheduled task is somehow missed, there's another trigger.
Okay, now let's get to the most diabolical part, layer 3. The mechanism that stops me, the administrator, from simply hitting end task.
That would be the monitor.bat script. This is the true heart of the watchdog. It's a tiny, constantly running, relentless loop. It uses the information from layer 1, that process ID stored in target.pid, to check the system's status. It runs the standard Windows command, task list, but filters specifically for that PID. It's just asking one question over and over. Is the main ValleyRat process running or not?
But wait. If an administrator spots this weirdly named scheduled task or sees this monitor.bat script, can't they just delete that batch file?
That's a critical question. And yes, they could. But if the batch script itself is terminated, the scheduled task is still intact. The task scheduler is the true persistent anchor. It ensures monitor.bat runs again on the next restart or whenever it's scheduled.
I see. So the script is the babysitter, but the task scheduler is the parent who keeps sending the babysitter back to work. Okay, walk us through the actual self-healing logic of that loop.
Right. So when task list runs, if it finds the process, everything's fine, the loop continues. But if an admin has killed the main process, the command fails. It can't find the PID. The system returns a specific error, and the bash script is programmed to look for this. The crucial line is if error level 1. In simple terms, this just means if the process check came back empty.
Meaning the malware is gone.
Correct. And if that error is detected, the watchdog immediately springs into action. It silently triggers a restart of the main ValleyRat process using a little helper VBS script, often called watch.vbs.
It's like a mechanical heart defibrillator.
Right.
And the loop, it has a time delay, right? Something like 15 seconds.
Exactly. It uses timeout 215 null, waits about 15 seconds, and then immediately repeats the check. It's a guaranteed 15-second response window for self-revival. This creates a huge challenge for any defensive team. If your first response is to kill the suspicious process, ValleyRat S2 is back online within seconds. You're basically fighting a ghost that can revive itself.
That's staggering.
It really is. The implication is that simple process killing, the foundational step for most incident response, is entirely ineffective. The persistent anchor will just bring the RAT back to life before you can even scan for other files.
So this fundamentally changes the remediation game. It turns a standard cleanup into a coordinated surgical strike.
Yeah.
What does effective remediation even look like?
It requires simultaneous neutralization, a highly coordinated defense. You have to identify and eliminate all parts of the persistence chain in one go. If you miss a single component, the entire loop just starts again.
Okay, so break it down for us. What are the components?
This sources emphasize that full removal must target 4 components at the exact same time. First, disable or delete the scheduled tasks launching the loop. Second, eliminate the batch and VBS watchdog scripts. Third, you have to clean up the staged files -target.ppit and the config data. And only then, after you've disarmed the self-healing mechanism, can you finally remove the core Valley AS2 process. If that loop is still active, you're just going to watch it respawn.
So what does this all mean for you, the learner, in terms of the bigger threat landscape? ValleyRat S2 shows a pretty significant evolution. Attackers are prioritizing guaranteed residency over, a complex entry. They want to be an invisible, permanent, and self-repairing fixture inside an environment. The battle has moved from blocking the front door to making sure the intruder, once inside, can never be evicted. We've covered the entire life cycle here, from deceptive downloads and DLL sideloading for that stealth entry, to its comprehensive RAD capabilities geared toward financial targets, and most critically, the engineering brilliance of that 3-layered watchdog loop. This is just a headline anymore. It's an understanding of the layered, resilient architecture of modern cybercrime.
And if we connect this all back to the human element, we have to remember where this all started. ValleyRat S2 relies heavily on a user making a bad initial decision, installing cracked software, chasing a free utility. Given the level of coordinated technical defense required to remove this malware once it's in the need to neutralize 4 distinct threats simultaneously, the most important skill remains questioning the true cost of free. Before you hit download on that next installer, you have to ask yourself, is the risk of this level of permanent automated monitoring truly worth the convenience? That upfront decision is the one firewall that no technology can ever replace.